Today, I feel like the luckiest man in the world.
There was a special feeling in the air on November 10, 1997. Coming off one of the most famous moments in history the night before, the curiosity and interest in both programs was huge. Both companies had a major connection to the story. WWF to hear the response from Michaels and McMahon. WCW to hear Bischoff responds to his new signing and backstage fight with Vince. Perhaps the biggest point of interest was if Bret Hart is gonna show up. It could have been on USA Network for WWF, or TNT for WCW. WCW was about to go 3 hours weekly, starting an hour before Raw. Meaning WCW had the first hour unopposed, WWF had the second hour unopposed, with 1 hour in the middle head-to-head. The nWo opened the show with Bischoff announcing Bret Hart's official signing, as well as mentioning Hart knocking out Vince backstage in Montreal. Closing the segment by singing the Canadian anthem and hinting at Bret joining the nWo to a huge TV audience. WCW's first hour drew a 4.8 rating, one of the biggest viewership numbers in cable TV history from the first minute of the show, confirming the special interest on the night. WWF opened the show in front of a sold-out Canadian crowd with the talking point of the night. Shawn Michaels, after promising not to come to the ring on Raw with the title belt, not only did that but went against what he told Bret and cut a promo on how he beat him in his hometown with his own move. It was obvious from that moment that it was all a game. Now that Bret is gone, the entire program is going to build of this incident to capitalize on the huge interest. Numbers showed it as Raw's opened big with one of their biggest numbers in years, almost winning the quarter for the Rick Rude, Shawn Michaels, and Ken Shamrock segment. The unique atmosphere was clear just by looking at the sides of the crowd that night, with plenty of them brutally attacking Michaels and McMahon. WCW's Overrun segment with the nWo and Sting peaked the night head-to-head with a 4.5 rating after a big jump for the Luger vs. Flair match. Raw's second hour going against the nWo and Sting opened with the new IC champion Steve Austin, coming to a mixed reaction in Canada after beating hometown favorite Owen Hart the night before. Cole asked Austin about his next challenger when Nation's Rocky came out. About to complete his rookie year on TV, the first major Rock vs. Austin interaction happened, with both saying years later that they knew after this segment that it was just the beginning. The stage was set for the program that will define the industry a few years later. A major point of the night was Raw, who was usually barely gaining any new viewers when WCW's broadcast ended, gained a big audience with the second hour doing one of the biggest numbers in Raw history. Showing a new pattern that the WCW audience now has enough interest in the WWF to stay for their show unlike in the past. Raw drew one of its biggest numbers in years with a 3.4 rating. WCW was at its peak, dominating for over a year with the gap growing by the month, but WWF, riding the massive intrigue of Bret Hart from the night before, entered the first stage on the way to peaking the company.